What's up, everybody? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back to the AM. Welcome back to 5 Minute Rants. I'm your host, Mike Labernathy, and welcome back to the show predicated on the journey of life and business. Hey, guys, if you know somebody who wants to start their own business or wants to be better at business, would you partner with me and share the show with them? I appreciate the partnership, guys. Thanks for helping me change lives. Well, I want to talk about what I'm calling the knowledge gap. And I talked about this a little bit last episode about oftentimes how we don't know what step 2 is, or we don't know what our next steps are because we simply won't take the first step, or we simply won't start. And oftentimes in life, when we're trying to figure out what we should do, what we really actually need is momentum. And so let me give you an analogy to this. I was in a meeting with upper leadership, and we are talking about how we are going to handle COVID and everything else. And I was working with a different organization at the time, just for, client base. And so I was meeting with him, and this is what we were doing. And what I began doing is I just began writing out a simple plan. Just began writing. I didn't know what I was writing. I understood what the goal was. We understood what we were supposed to do. And I started writing. And the gentleman next to me, we were talking about it, and he's like, why are you writing? What are you writing? Do you already know what we need to do? And I was like, no. But I do know that the moment we start to move the car forward, we'll understand what turns we need to take to get to our final destination. And if I just start moving the car, if I just start walking down the path in the direction that we need to go, we'll figure it out. Because oftentimes you're too far away from the mountain to actually see the path you're going to take up there. You have a general idea, but you're so far away, you actually can't see any of the details. And as a result, you sit and try and figure out all the details before you get close to the mountain, but it will naturally happen if you just keep walking towards the mountain. You'll get close enough to figure out how you're going to scale that rock face. You get close enough to figure out what the trees look like. You'll get close enough to be able to smell the grass and the wind and the fresh rain that just fell. But until you get close enough for those things to occur, you're never going to know. And that's oftentimes when we are planning out lives, when we're trying to create momentum or deal with stressful situations. Like I said, we were talking about how the whole organization, and I was helping during this and for this, how the whole organization was going to operate right when the pandemic hit. We need a momentum. We need to start going towards that mountain, even though nobody knew exactly what we needed and how we were going to handle things. And it turned out that generating that momentum, and that we are in a group of 7 different people on leadership that were leading the organization, generating that momentum allowed everybody then to begin chiming in with different things that they saw, different things that came up. And then it allowed us, by the time about an hour and a half, 2 hours done, we had drafted a whole entire plan for the organization to run and how everything was going to run and operate and move forward without a hitch. But none of that started without momentum. And so what I want to talk about is oftentimes we have a knowledge gap. We don't know how to move forward. We have a knowledge gap of what the next step is going to be. But the way you actually learn what your next step is going to be is actually just moving forward, taking that first step. You don't know how to draft a plan for your life. Okay, get a piece of paper and just begin writing down. And if you listen to a lot of great entrepreneurs, that's how they tell you they got their start. That's how they figured out their problems. That's how they figured out how to plan, even if they didn't know it. They didn't know what their next moves were. They didn't know what the best move available was for them. They didn't know any of these things. And what they did, they simply just got a piece of paper and started writing. And what they were unaware of, or maybe they were aware, I don't know, they were creating momentum. And as a result, that momentum, that forward movement towards their destination began opening up doors for clarity. They got closer and closer to the mountain that they knew they needed to climb or overcome. And they all of a sudden began seeing things from a new perspective, and they weren't sure of before. And then they began seeing details that they did not know before and were unaware of. And then they were able to act accordingly. And so this is oftentimes the catch-22 that I mentioned last time, is we want to know step 2 before we take step 1. But we're not going to know step 2 until we take step 1. And you need momentum to take step 1. If you think about it, walking is actually controlled falling. That's what it's classified as. What does that mean? In other words, you need to start falling forward in order to take a step. So the initial inertia of your body must be in momentum, forward momentum, falling forward to take your first step. This is how everything works in life. This is natural law. It's how everything works. You need to move towards whatever you are trying to accomplish. If it's a fire, you got to run towards the fire. Every time you run away, it causes pain and disaster. If it's a goal or objective, just start moving towards it, and you'll watch yourself actually overcome in ways that you had no idea that you'd be or be able to do. Anyways, guys, I'm way over, so I'll catch you later. Peace.